beautiful souls, and welcome to Pleasure Principles, the podcast where we unpack the art, science, and the magic of living a more pleasurable, connected, and deliberated life. I'm your host Avik, and today I am absolutely thrilled to dive into a story of profound transformation, reclamation, and uh, divine empowerment. Because joining us is the extraordinary Rimsha Warda Saida. So, welcome to the show, Rimsha.
Thank you so much for having me and for the beautiful intro. I'm so stoked to be here.
Lovely, lovely, definitely. So, before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Rimsa is a former aerospace engineer and US Marine Corps officer turned holistic intimacy and the relationship coach. Yes. So you heard that right. Yeah, she's chartered a path uh, from the precision of rockets to the wild and primal wisdom to the divine feminine. So her journey is nothing sort of breathtaking. Yeah. So through her creation, the Jaguar medicine, she empowers women to reconnect with their cycles, embrace their primal power, and awaken their dark feminine energy. And we are about to go deep into the beautiful intersection of the sacred sexuality, feminine shamanism, and the leadership. So, if you are ready to explore what it truly means to reclaim your power and cultivate the authentic joy, then you are in the right place. So let's start with a uh, quick question about everyone who is listening. Like, uh, this is just for all of you. I mean, you can definitely share your comment in the comment section, or maybe you can email us as well. So, when was the last time you gave yourself permission to truly, or maybe unapologetically, feel, to honor your instincts and the cycles without your judgment? So, do let us know. Yeah. And welcome to the show again, Dimsa.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And was that question for me or was that for all the viewers who are listening?
For everyone, definitely you can also share as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually this is a profound question because right before this episode,
Mhm.
so I had food poisoning last night.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm in Pakistan and I arrived here after 16 years. I live abroad now in the US and trying to transition back to the middle, to this part of the world. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going so strong for 3 months, and I finally got my food poisoning, and I also started my bleed on that same day,
Okay.
and it was so beautiful to witness
Mhm.
that none of those things were a coincidence. It was this profound time for me to purge a lot of things that were coming through, because as I was puking and feeling weak to my bone, everything was inviting in this deep sense of desire to have a masculine support. And I felt my father in my bed as I was crying, just holding me, nurturing me. I felt him almost like holding my head to his chest and loving me. And so when you surrender to what is happening without the victim and you allow yourself to drop into it. So because I was purging, I was shedding on all levels, and I had food poisoning and I'm puking and I'm in this much weakness, I really allowed every part of my being to come alive rather than get distracted. I didn't try to sleep it off. I didn't, of course, rest is necessary, but I went deeper and deeper into my body on like, what am I purging? What is this? What is this? How can this become an intimate experience for me? And it became about healing this father wound that I had in my body and learning to receive this nurturance from this masculine support. And I started to actually, like, as in bed, I started to say all the things that and all the ways my father had hurt me. And then I started to say all the ways he had given me gift of this life and the gratitude that I had. And I went into celebration, and I'm sharing this to say that these cycles that we go through, especially for feminine beings on this planet, we go through this 28, 29-day cycle every month. this is an invitation for us to continue to descend deeper into our body and to see what wants to be liberated, what wants to bring wisdom to the surface. Because we are the wisdom keepers, we are the source of power of this planet. And if we can't own it, who will do it for us? So that was actually just happened a few hours ago before this podcast, that I was in this deep initiation of just like holding myself as if my father was there next to me and working with that energy, to invite in my own inner masculine to hold space for myself.
That's really amazing, and it's just, I really feel great to hear someone who shares about this. So, the listeners, why don't you share? So do share about your thoughts as well. I'd love to hear from you all. So, Rimsa, like, you have journeyed from the kind of rigidity of aerospace engineering and the military discipline to following the rhythms of feminine cycles and the instincts. So, and what was the turning point that made you leave that structured world for this more intuitive and sacred path? Yeah.
Definitely my divorce. I went through a very cathartic divorce, and I'm
Mhm.
sure for those of you listening, if you've gone through, you probably know the initiation that happens when you choose to part from a relationship you deeply love. And I feel like, our first relationship is almost always a karmic relationship, something that is here to teach us and show us our shadows. And it certainly was. And it made me realize that, I wasn't just married to a pathological liar. I was living a lie. I was living a life of a pathological lie. It was a life that wasn't truthful to myself. I realized that it was the conditioning and wanting to be accepted in an Islamic, family, and abiding by their rules and systems in order to be continuously accepted and having success, right? So there was like people pleasing on all levels. Like, how can I be accepted in the United States community, in a highly go go go
Mhm.
accomplishing based society, and also in a very be quiet, be gentle, be soft, and in a very Muslim community. And it just it I got to the point, like, when I was going through the divorce, I wanted to break everything, and I wanted to break everything that was inside of me to see what is in here. What is my truth beyond the condition, beyond the structures, beyond the systems that are structured around us, that isn't our truth. And that kind of led me to the path of the wild primal feminine self, and which allowed me to realize that our nervous system, our brains are wired by these structures around us, but it's not our truth. And so if we listen to the depth, to the wisdom of our bodies, we can find the God there, we can find the goddess there, and we can be led by what is needed at the moment. So you're going present moment to present moment, rather than being in the past, or being people pleasing, or sourcing anything outside of you. So it helped me, like, truly fall in love with myself. I mean, I can easily say I love myself more than anything in the world. And I can love myself without the productivity, without my business, without the service, without making difference in other people's life. I love myself for simply existing, because I have been able to beautifully journey, within. And also, like, we have this concept uh, that we start a healing journey and then there's an end to it. Like, no, 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 this is life, right? This is life. Like, how much can you shed, right? Like, how much can you peel away everything that you're not, that you were born into, to find that godlike substance within you, that is just pure innocence play, like a childlike play. And that's kind of what I sourced. And within that, I realized, when you're playing, there's the archetypal play, right? You see children like playing all sorts of different roles, and like they're not confined to a certain identity. And that's when all my structures broke through. Like, oh, I don't need to fit into a certain box. I can change moment to moment and be who I am moment to moment.
That is very important as well. Thanks for sharing this. And also on this, like, um how did the discipline, like, from your past help, or maybe the challenge that your embrace of sacred sexuality and the feminine power?
Yeah, the discipline piece, I think, is I'm so glad for my journey in the military and then also as an engineer. And maybe for those of you who have tech background, you needed some level of devotion and discipline to get through that really tough path and sharpening of the brain that's required. So as you are, there's a reason why people don't want to look at their traumas in their past, right? Or their pain body, or they don't want to travel below their heads. They want to stay in their mind because it's hard. It's really hard. It's painful. And it's painful. I mean, when I've led men's circles, or even actually 2 days ago, I led a women's circle. Grief and rage is something so hard for people to access. It's so taboo. It's so scary to be vulnerable. So it requires discipline and devotion. It requires saying, I will continue to go into the darkness no matter how hard it gets. So that discipline actually wasn't necessary for me because especially for my secret sexuality journey, for 2 years straight, every single night, the moment sunset, I let the shadows come through. And I allowed myself, I would have a big mirror in front of me, and I said, I will face myself here every single night. I will meet my child self. I will meet my also darkness. I will meet the evils inside of me. I will meet everything that is alive here, the betrayal, the wound, everything, the joy, the eroticism, the desires, everything, and I will bring it to light. So that requires a level of self devotion and discipline, and saying that no matter how hard it gets, I will be there, right? So it's a huge discipline path for sure. And even in sexuality, there's a reason why people are addicts of pornography or also masturbation without the sacredness of it, because it's easy, it's fast and quick, and they don't want to look into what is really their bodies are desiring. They don't want to listen to their genitals, the wisdom of their body of oh, this is what I'm desiring. Oh, I'm running towards pornography because I'm actually running away from something else, and my body is surfacing, right? Oh, there's pain body waking up and I want to run away, so I go towards that. So this is why I preach and really teach listening to the truth of the body through the sensations, and that will teach you how to be intimate with yourself. And then from there you can create sacredness in every part of your experience, including your sexuality.
Wow. That, I mean, it's really a profound shift. Definitely great. And also about your work integrates tantra, shamanism, and emotional alchemy. So for someone who is unfamiliar, what does it mean to reconnect with our primal instincts? So if you can share a bit.
Yeah, what does it mean to connect with your primal instincts?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, especially shamanism and tantric traditions, they're heavily elemental and energy based practices, right? They allow you to wake up your energy body, and you're meeting the subatomic particle of yourself. And I'll use an example. Even those who dance, right, who are in the dancing world or music world, were curated art forms. These are all choreographed. But what happens if you play a piece of music and you just let your body move? Let your energy body do what it wants to do. You notice that there's an animal aspect of ourselves. That's what I believe the primal instincts are. That it's so sharp, it's so body based, that there is no thinking involved. That it connects directly to your higher self, directly to your energy body. And that's where the play starts to happen. So when for me, studying shamanism allowed me to connect with earth element, air element, fire element. So you're constantly moving with what is around you. You're listening to the deeper intelligence of the elements within you, right? We are made of fire, air, earth, all the same elements. So communing with ourselves through those elemental wisdom, that is something no one can teach you. That takes practice. Same with Tantra. Someone can sit here and teach you what Tantra is, but the primal wisdom is something you are constantly studying, especially for women through your cycles. You're every day communing with what is happening inside of you. What earth element are you playing with? Where is your grounded energy? Where is your fire, your passion, your aliveness? Where your airy, ascending, higher consciousness traveling from? So you're working with different elemental wisdom, and then you find that one of the gifts of animals on this planet is to show us these instinctual selves. So when I work with the jaguar, the way it became alive in my own body was this motherly crone energy, like this dadi like energy of
Yeah.
I have lived through this wisdom,
Mm.
and now I get to show up as this mother archetype, as a daddy archetype, crone archetype. And the Jaguar medicine for me has allowed me to play in these different archetypal roles without being a 60, 70-year-old woman. Right? So you are really learning to be fluid. That's the primal instinct. You see animals, they don't
Mm.
just stay in one form, they're actually continuously evolving as the environment demands itself. So you learn to like dance with the chaos, learn to dance with the elements. So that's what it is. It's like even if you talk to soldiers in combat, right? Their
Mm.
trainings are thrown out the window. They become primal, they become instinctual. And that's what sex is too. It's like no matter what knowledge, you can't teach sex. Of course, if you're
Mm.
an addict of pornography, you're gonna have that impact through your brain. But it's even sexuality, it's like if there's love, deep love present, what does love create in that sacred space? What happens with our bodies and our energy systems when there's deep, deep awareness through this energy body within us? So that's what it is. It's allowing ourselves to be without the thinking mind. You let go of the thinking mind. And I would even advise, like, if you are curious to explore this, breath work is a good place to start. And like not just any breath work, but like you do breath work to, turn off the part of your thinking brain and then put music on and dance. Let your body move. Watch yourself how your body wants to move and be curious in exploration without proper choreography. And then you'll learn the art of living in creativity, that wow, I can create so many businesses, I can create so many pieces of art and music and dance and real estate and this and this and this. Then you get to co-create with life without being in this fixed box. And this is actually something that men can work with too, because you have inner feminine as well, right? Feminine primal instincts as well. So being able to tap into that can allow you to be in that creative zone of genius and create businesses and create wealth and tap into this part of you that can get you out of the box, out of the thinking space, and really create this magnetizing product in this world that serves the highest good of all. So it's so powerful to work with this
Mm.
energy for myself.
Wow. That's really, really lovely one. And also like dark feminine energy can sound intimidating to some people also. So um what it means, uh, I mean, if you can share some how embracing this energy can lead to the authentic joy and the pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, so absolutely the dark feminine, especially on social media and Instagram and the Western world particularly, it's
Mm.
very whitewashed concept of dark feminine.
Mm.
And it shows us to be like essentially the negative connotation to Kalima when we don't
Mm.
understand, right? So we were
Yeah.
seeing like, oh, she's just like wants to burn everything. Well,
Mm.
yes, of course, the dark woman is the destroyer. However, why is she the destroyer? What is she destroying? What is the purpose of the destroyer? So, in simple terms, the dark feminine is all the aspects of yourself that flows through you that hasn't seen light, that hasn't been witnessed by you. It's very simple. It's
Mm.
not right. There's collective dark feminine shadow. So the
Mm.
tabooness of wealth, the tabooness of sexuality. But I wouldn't focus on that because that collective impact from patriarchy is existing in within individual bodies. So focusing it on where is the dark feminine alive within me and
Mm.
going into places that hasn't seen the light and going there, journeying into that. And you'll find that you have this primal part of you that has the capacity to face death, to face evil, to face standing
Mm.
up for your truth, that has the capacity to build very strong boundaries, that has built a sharp tongue, right? For especially women in
Mm.
India, Pakistan, like this part of the world, Arab women, we don't have sharp tongues anymore when we used to. Even the wife, I was just studying the courtesans of our
Mm.
culture, where women had, their beauty was celebrated, their dance was celebrated, their expression was celebrated by masculine
Mm,
and feminine. It wasn't this thing that was dirty. it
mm,
was it was a high form of art. And because of colonization, what has happened to that? And a lot of women have lost it and are become so masculine, and I wouldn't even say masculine, like more toxic masculine.
mm,
So so the dog so maybe I'll speak specifically to my case, then that can give you the
mhm,
invitation to, for those of you listening, of where your divine dark mother might be and dark feminine might be. For me, it lied in the
mm,
rage. I had so much rage in my pain body, of in all the places I was abused and didn't couldn't stand up for myself. I always felt like I had chains around my throat. Like I can't. And so when every time I would
mm.
have sleep paralysis or all of
Yeah.
that, I would be like screaming in my dreams and like not being able to have a sound. So my
Mm,
dark feminine lied in my inability to speak
mm,
my truth. And now I do it, right? Once I brought light to it, I can have this, I can speak about, I'm in Pakistan right now, and I can talk about blood, and I can talk about sex, and I can talk about money. And
mm,
people get freaked out for the first 10 seconds, and immediately they release that. They like become relaxed around it, because I have
mm,
brought light to something that is dark in their life, because they don't want to talk about it. They're not ready for it. And then
mm,
for me also, it was grief. I had so much sadness, and I still carry a lot of sadness in my body. And we had this idea that women, that, oh, we can't live a happy life if we have sadness. No, 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 no. We can co-create with our pain body. We can co-create with the grief. Grief is not a bad thing. And because of what I've gone through and my current relation with my family, and essentially what I'm saying is that we divided negative emotions and positive emotions when
mm,
everything is just energy in motion. That's it. So co-creating with that, then you can bring light to it. So for me,
mm,
rage, grief, this desire for exploring my own sexuality in a way that's
mm,
sacred to me, all of those were shining light in places that hadn't seen light. So it's going to be different for everybody, but of course, collectively, we have,
mm.
we're seeing the feminine rise that's happening, that we have a
Yeah.
collective rage. We have a collective voice. We're speaking about the same thing, and we're all
Mm,
standing up for our truth and taking up our rightful spaces, and
mm,
also allowing our masculine men around us to rise as leaders in a way that's sacred to their hearts, right? Like heart-led leaders.
true.
So things are changing, and
Mm,
Kalima is very much present on the globe
yeah.
right now, and she's cutting through a lot of bullshit. We're watching the structures of the societies fall in place, and we're seeing how it's not working. We're seeing United States, their colors show up. We're seeing, so this is a collective
Mm.
dark feminine that is rising right now.
Yeah, that's so lovely. Yeah. And one more thing I'd love to ask you, like, you have lived through such a unique blend of experiences, like from the battlefield to the sacred feminine. If you could um give one piece of advice to your younger self, and for the listeners also, definitely, what would it be?
Hmm. Yeah, let me feel into that one. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, create art with everything that is happening inside. Externalize it. Yeah, we're all artists in this
Mm,
world, and create beautiful art. Create art with your grief, create art with your rage, create art with your betrayal wound, create art with everything that's happening in this world. It will help you to cope with life itself, because then you're engaging with life and giving it life itself. So yeah,
mm.
that would be my advice.
Wow, that's lovely. Great, that's a great advice. It feels like a mantra we could all carry with us, definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
So, Rimsa, this conversation has been nothing sort of transformative, I'd say. So, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your journey, and your heart. So, for all the listeners, I'd love to mention, like, today's episode inspires you uh, to reconnect with the wisdom of your own body and the cycles. And if you have loved this episode, make sure to subscribe to Pleasure Principles and share it with someone who needs this message, definitely. So, and also do not forget to check out Rimsa's work at unbinarykundan.com. I'll also put this into the show notes for all of your reference. And definitely her insights are life changing. Yeah. And also remember that cultivating pleasure isn't just about the indulgence. It's all about reclaiming your power, honoring your truth, and also showing up for the life that we deserve. Am I correct, right, Rimsa?
Yes, 100%.
Lovely, lovely. Great. So great, dear listeners. Until next time, keep leaning into the pleasure and living authentically. So thank you so much.